Welcome back to another video. Today I will be showing you guys my trip to the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad. So the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad is located in western North Carolina, and it runs between Dillsboro, North Carolina, and their tracks go all the way to Andrews, North Carolina. But during this season, they only operate from Bryson City to Dillsboro, which is still a long train ride. Um, but I really enjoyed it here, and this place was awesome. Uh, they have tons of people who actually come in from states all across the country just to come to this specific tourist railroad because of the scenery that's here, the locomotives that are here, and that they operate a huge amount of trackage. Now, they don't run all the way to Andrews. There are tracks from Andrews to Murphy, but those are owned by the state now, and they're abandoned right now, but the tracks are still there. Um, but I think they're working on getting lines to Andrews open, which will be hopefully open in the future. But today, we did not get pulled by a steam locomotive. They don't run the steam locomotive in the off season really. They only really run it in the summer. But they have two steam locomotives, 1702, which was built for the United States Army in I think 1946, and they recently bought 722, which I think is a Southern Railway locomotive. Pretty sure, and they're actually redoing it right now. They're restoring it, and hopefully, they said they're hopefully going to have it for the summer of this year. But they have a turntable here, as you can see, and we we rode in one of the nicer passenger cars. They also have a really big museum here. If you're into Lionel O scale stuff from literally any time period, they've got Lionel stuff from the very beginning and stuff that's recently made. But we were pulled by two GP38-2s today, as you can see next to them right there. This was after our excursion today. They were tying down the locomotive in their yard here in Bryson City. But the tracks are very smooth, and this line was built by the Western North Carolina Railroad. They built it, the people who built it were prisoners from the state, and eventually it was absorbed into the Southern Railway and Norfolk Southern, which abandoned, I think Norfolk Southern sold it to Great Smoky Mountain Railroad, and from Hillsborough all the way to Asheville, it's owned and operated by Blue Ridge Southern, which is a short line that's based here in Western North Carolina. But this is the train we rode today. They have tons more passenger cars, in case you're wondering. They also recently bought BNSF GP38-2, which I think they're gonna repaint. It was just in their yard. I saw it there today. But we rode in the Appalachian Trail car, which you'll see up here in a minute. I thought this car was kind of cool. It's the WCU Western North Carolina University, and I thought it was cool that they had a car there. But the passenger cars were really nice, and I mean, some of them had wooden interiors, which you don't see on a tourist line all that often. And they are restoring another. I think it's one of those older Pennsylvania six-axle passenger cars. They had one at their yard in Dillsboro that they were restoring, but they said they're gonna hopefully start operating 1702 and 722 together. Um, but yeah, it was an awesome, awesome train ride. And I mean, we went through, there's a tunnel that we went through, I think 860 something feet long. A lot of it's not like, some of it is got concrete in it, like concrete walls, but a lot of it's just plain rock. And the prisoners from the state actually built that in a little over a year with pickaxes. They dug it with pickaxes, which I thought was unique because they usually use dynamite with these tunnels. And there was a lot of bridges that crossed the river too, which I thought was really cool. Um, but we got to stop in Dillsboro for an hour, and I watched them turn around the locomotives. But here's the inside of the cars. This is a couple of different cars. As you can see, this one's one of the nicest ones, and it's got wooden interiors, as you can see. The car we rode in was built in 1959, and they restored it 5 years ago. Um, I'll show you. I think I have a video of the inside of that car. This is the cafe car, and yes, they did have a cafe car on the train, which you also don't see on tourist roads. But this is their museum here. They've got this is all O scale. This is I've never seen so many O scale locomotives, rolling stock. If you have, I mean, if you name it, they probably have it. I mean, and they had the collector's price listed on every model too, which is again something you don't see every day. I mean, as you can see, they had an absolute ton of O scale stuff, and it wasn't just Lionel's, MTH. Um, I think they had a lot of Mark stuff, and yes, they did have template stuff, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. But this is one of their layouts. This is their biggest one. I thought this wooden trestle was really, really cool, and you don't typically see O scale layouts that are as detailed as this one. It's usually HO layouts, but I thought that was really cool. They had a good amount of Southern Railway stuff here. They also had some artifacts here and there. Here's another layout, and a lot of steam engines right there. That was some of their most expensive ones. They had a ton of Southern Railway steam engines, a lot of Crescents and stuff like that. I mean, just look at the sheer amount of locomotives they have. I thought it was really cool because I've never seen this many locomotives in one place. Um, they had like every rolling stock known to man. I mean, it was crazy how much rolling stock and locomotives they had. They had like sets for everything, like passenger sets, freight sets, which I thought was really cool and this is crazy. They also had this HO layout. You could to power it, you have to push the button down there, and it powers the layout. This is a small one. I mean, it's really detailed. This is like that was that Lionel one was like post-war Lionel that they had there. This is their O scale layout again, the big one. It's really cool. I've never seen O scale layouts like this because um, O scale layouts usually don't get like ballast track like this. They usually just use fast track and they don't ballast it. But this was really cool because it's, I mean, realistic. And normally O scale layouts aren't really realistic. Um, but they had some really nice locomotives running and rolling stock and really nice buildings. But this is, I'm gonna play some music and let you guys enjoy the ride on this train because it's a really cool ride. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know this is a longer one, but this was one thing on my bucket list, and I mean it was an awesome ride, and the towns we visited were really nice. When the train is pulling into Dillsboro, the people who own the buildings and stores will actually wave to you because this is like the only business that they get. Um, and there's so much scenery on the sign, and the staff were super duper nice. And if you're in the area, or I mean, if you're in North Carolina, really, or in this part of the South, you should come visit this line because it's really one of a kind. And there's some really, really cool things that you can see. And there's a lot of different shops, there's museums. Bryson City still has its depot, and they use it, um, I think, for an event space. But it's really cool because there's ice cream shops, there's really nice restaurants in Dillsboro, and it's a really, really cool experience to ride along this train. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.